Hey, Mike, what is going on?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good, good.
So, are you thinning back out to this altitude? I know you're out in the Rockies this week.
Yeah, dude. Yes, yes. As soon as we got back to Florida, which Colorado was beautiful, there was a couple of things like as we were walking through the airport, I'm like, okay, because it was a little chilly there. It was windy. Like when we left, it was like 50 degrees and really windy. So I was like, humidity. I thought I'd never be able to say that, or would want to say that. So it was warm. Um, my lips were unchapped like within 10 minutes because it was like I don't know. I guess it was the altitude and dry skin.
So, did your nose bleed?
No, Michael's does a lot. Michael bleeds a lot from his nose, just getting punched in the face all the time. That's what he does, right? So,
Well,
um,
it's that dry air. I know when I go out to Missouri, it does the same thing to me. And I'm sure people tuning in like, what are they talking about? But some tips for you, especially if you live in
altitude.
Florida, because we love the moisture, man. We
Yeah,
water our bodies like what 70-80% water. So
yeah,
we
yeah.
love the moisture in the air. I like the humidity. I know a lot of people complain about the humidity. I actually like the humidity.
Well, yes, I will agree with that. We went through a lot of chapstick and whatnot. It was fun though. It was fun. Um, the thinning of the air was a little bit more tough. Like we went on a little bit of a trail up a hike up a little bit of a mountain because it was a pretty large mountain, and I was just going slow, and I was like, oh wow, this air is a killer for sure. Um, but it was fun, and then yeah, it was fun. It was peaceful. It was good to get away for my wife and I and Tony and Charlene, and then we were supposed to surprise my son, but technology let him know that we were there. So that was an
Was
epic
he on
fail.
like Find My Friends or something?
It was Life 360. Like it was doing its job. It's usually like, and I'm not promote. Well, hey, if Life 360 wants to go ahead and promote our podcast or get on our podcast as a sponsor, by all means. But with that being said, it's always like when you come home or when the kids come home, it'll tell you who's here, who's there, right? But I've never seen, even when Michael landed on Friday morning, it did not notify me that he landed. But when Lisa and I landed, it notified everybody in our network that we landed. And Michael was like, "Hey, are you guys in Denver?" I'm like, "Nah, we're not in Denver." It's like it's acting up. He was like, 2 minutes later, he was like, "Well, on your Apple location, it also says you're in Denver." And I'm like, I sent him a picture of his mom as we're walking through the the Denver airport. So we got caught. Surprise failed, but it was good. It was good that we were there.
Epic fail, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I know like Christmas time, my wife and I, we have our Find My Friends on all the time. But
Right.
like Christmas time when we're Christmas shopping, we give each other permission to shut it
Shut
off.
it off.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, because it's like if she knows I'm like at her favorite restaurant buying gift cards or whatever, or whatever,
Yeah.
So but you forget those things. It's like technology does fail you sometimes.
It was literally as soon as
Technology is awesome when it works for you, but when it works against you,
oh
I
yeah.
mean, it's like AI, right? It's
Yeah.
like robots are taking over our lives. Now,
But
I know some of you are watching on Facebook, but Mike, has your like search engine now? Is it like Meta, the robot guy on there?
yeah, yeah, it's and yeah, yeah. I
You know,
actually I went to look something or somebody up the other day, um, from for karate or something like that, and it was started asking me a whole bunch of questions. I'm like, I just show me search. I just want search. That's all I want. That's,
so for me, I go on Facebook sometimes and I'm like, oh, I gotta find an old conversation I had. Mike and I were talking about something where it's like a passcode to get into like one of my
right.
apps or whatever. I'm like, oh, I know I talked to Mike about that. So I'm like, password, and then it pops up. Password's a game show from 1970s, but like I don't want that. I just want to find my password. Like
Yeah.
it, robots are taking over, bro. They
Listen,
are.
I work for a financial institution that deals with a lot of tech, and you are preaching to the choir, my friend. I definitely
Yeah.
know that.
So, well, we're not going to talk about robots tonight, but you know what? Let's talk about um, maybe give some advice. Maybe somebody's tuning in and they're like, I do not know what to get my wife. Now, how does it land in your home? Like, my wife's like, what are we going to do for Mother's Day? I'm like, you mean for our moms or for you? She's like, well, like for me. I'm like, well, that's up to the kids.
Right.
It's Mother's Day. You're not my mother. And that doesn't fly. I realize that I've been vetoed by my wife and society because they think I'm wrong. But I'm like, Mother's Day, not Wife's Day, right?
I'm gonna stay shut.
Yeah, you're gonna be quiet. Yeah, I'm willing to put myself out there as a lesson of what not to do. Right?
Okay, and then I'm still gonna stay shut because you told me things that I do wrong, and I can tell you when you're wrong, but we won't do it publicly. So,
well, I know I'm wrong. That's the thing. I'm embracing. I'm embracing that maybe I'm the only one who lands on this. My opinion lands differently than my wife and society.
So let me ask you this: when you flip the cards, and it's June, how does it make you feel if PD says that to you?
I don't care. I don't expect her to get me anything for Father's Day.
Okay, all right.
And in fact,
oh boy, see, you're in trouble. You're already in trouble.
But you heard the voice from the background?
Yes,
you heard that?
Already in trouble.
Yeah,
I have my AirPods in today, so. Oh look, let's see. Very smart decision, Michael.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, I realized that I had to be schooled and learn that my perception and my perspective of it was wrong. So I can admit it. I was wrong. I'm wrong. I'm wrong. I taught the boys and I taught my daughter what to do all the years when they were little, but I thought, well, now they can shoulder that load. They take over. You pass the baton when they become adults, that Mother's Day becomes their thing, right?
I'm actually kind of excited for Mother's Day for a lot of reasons. One of the reasons is that my 16-year-old gets to chip in now for the Mother's Day gifts. And he does. Hey, listen, for a 16-year-old, he's pretty responsible. I'm not saying that because he's my son. He just is. We got some responsible kids that we've grown up in the church, and even your kids, and like, hey, but they're still kids, right?
Right.
But I have an 11-year-old that still has not paid. He's like, hey, I want to get mom this. I'm like, okay, you got money for that?
Mom deserves, she deserves the most expensive perfume out there, Dad.
Yeah. Can we get her some Chanel earrings? I literally Googled it. $4,000. Starts at $4,000. I'm like,
yeah. How do you even know those words? How are those words coming out of your mouth at 11 years old? Well, we're going to talk about those things. We're going to give some tips. We're going to maybe get into some trouble, but we'll figure out a way out of trouble as we do so often. But Mike, is there something that maybe we can kind of get the party started, or just some kind of noise going on? And if not, I got a new noisemaker. It's really cool. You want me to go do it?
You're going to do it. You're definitely going to do it, because
I know I'm robbing your thunder, but
you're not robbing my thunder. We're sharing. Sharing is caring.
Sharing technology. So my wife, I love her, but I came home and I was away, and she told me, "Hey, I don't know what's wrong with the dogs. There's something wrong with them." She said, "When you're home, they don't do this. They don't act this way." I'm like, "What's going on?" They're like, they keep going to the door. They want to go out every 5 minutes. Like, they are constantly going to the door. I'm like, "Oh, okay. I don't know what's going on." So I come home, and she's like, "I'm tired. Can you take them out? I've been taking them out all day. I just want to rest a little bit." I'm like, "I got it." So I take them outside. They go outside, and I come back in. And she said, "Aren't you going to give them a treat?" I'm like, "No, they didn't go to the bathroom." She goes, "What?" She said, "Well, I give them a treat every time they go outside."
That's why.
And I'm like, so that's why they kept going to the door, because every time they go to the door, so they were getting all these treats. So
Are you gonna get a treat or something like that? Like I'm waiting.
So what I'm saying is, I had to come home and I had to demonstrate tough love to my dog. So now every time it goes to the door, and I got to make sure I turn it up. Every time it goes to the door, I got this little app. Ready? Are you not? Oh, I got to turn it on. So I do this, and I go, "What's up, party puppies?" Hey, we'll be right back. Let's get it going. Hey, welcome to Celebration Podcast. I'm your host, Larry Strodes, and with me, as always, is my number two, my guy that I hang out with, but I don't cohabitate with, Mike Molinaro.
Never gonna live that one down.
Well, at least for a month or two. We're not going to let that go for a little bit, but
and to know what we're talking about, you got to go back and watch our podcast.
Well, I think that was episode 13, maybe.
Listen, before we get started, I will tell you that I went to the gym after last week's, and shout out to Owen Kennedy. Owen Kenny. If you see Owen Kennedy, that's his new name. To Mike Owen Kenny, if he's watching. I was in the gym, and I just went to when I called John the Baptist a wannabe. It was hysterical. I was laughing in the gym. People are looking at me. I'm like, all right, I gotta leave.
Yeah, that was a fun episode last week. If you have not tuned in or haven't seen it, last week's episode was probably one of the funniest episodes, and I could not keep a straight face on some of it. So it was just a lot of fun. We'll have to do something like that again. But anyhow, Mike, Mother's Day's coming up, and first let's get on to some of the serious things. This coming Sunday is Mother's Day at Celebration Church. We have a special gift for every lady. My message Sunday is be bold. It's going to be a great message. I can't wait to share it with the ladies of the church. But as you know, Mike, on Mother's Day and on Father's Day, the message is applicable to everybody in the building. Right. Yep. We don't do 3 poems and a point on Mother's Day and give flowers and say how wonderful the moms are. Although they are wonderful, we preach that a message that will resonate with everybody there. So if you're a guy, you're single, whatever, you're still going to enjoy the service Sunday. But we will be giving gifts to the moms and actually all the ladies in the building. We just honor all the women, and it's just going to be an awesome day on Sunday. So
Mother's Day is like the second most highest church attended day of the year, right? It
is. Okay. But do you know what the lowest attended day of the year is?
No. I'm not going to pretend.
Some people say Father's Day, but for us at Celebration Church, I think it's daylight savings because it hits spring break. It's like right around the time people are schools or whatever. So that nails us. And I have some ideas. We're going to do something. I'm already thinking about next time. But we have some things. But
I was actually going to say it depends on the when it lands. But I was going to say like 4th of July weekend. Because I know that like I'm away. You're usually away. Something like that, right?
Yeah. So I don't know. That could be very well. But for those of you who are listening,
we'll ask Pastor Linda.
Yeah, for those of you watching, I might be here this year. I used to try to go out of town without letting people know I'm gone, because if I'm gone, people are like, I'm not going to go that day. Right. And I hate that. Right. I do. I hate that. But anyhow, we're going to have a great day Sunday. We're doing something a little different this year, Mike. In previous years, my wife has preached a lot of the Mother's Days, and I preach on Father's Day. and I always have like an illustrated message for the fathers. But this year, we're doing the old switcheroo.
Well,
Is that
listen,
working? The old switcheroo.
I'm going to give you some advice. Do not start your sermon with what you started this podcast with. All right. Maybe you can start with "you're wrong." Maybe you can start with that. But don't go into.
Yeah. Like I said, I've been wrong. Just like International Women's Day. Everyone's like, "Oh, this is my international woman." Like, my wife's like, I'm like, "You're not an international woman. You know, you're an American."
My gosh.
No, I'm kidding. I'm so kidding. I'm so kidding. You know, like, but come on, you know, some of these things. I'm going to be the guy that says it. Some of these things are created by Hallmark.
Yes, I agree. And you already know what holiday I'm going to get into, but this is we're going to go to left field. All right, because I've told you this before. Like, but I'm going to shut up.
Which holiday do you think should be like we should drop some?
Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day?
Absolutely. I love my wife all the time. She loves me all the time. She agrees with me. Like, what? So if I buy flowers a week and a half before for my wife, just because that's something that I like to do, she can test that, and she's probably watching. So if you are, give me a thumbs up. And they cost $20 for a dozen roses or something like that. But if I go a day before Valentine's Day or on Valentine's Day, they cost me $75. What's the difference?
Yeah, but if you buy your wife flowers the day after Valentine's Day, they're 75% off.
Yeah, because they're dead.
They're not dead. They're not dead. But anyhow, Mike,
I told you we're going to left field with that.
Yeah, listen. This could be some very treacherous territories. So, you know, I've already thrown out, and everyone could say boo, boo. You could boo me and say, you know, that's a terrible take. I get that. It is a terrible take, and it's not that I'm cheap. I mean, I love to surprise my wife, and if she was here, she would tell you. I'm the guy who does a lot of the surprises. I plan a lot of special memories. I'm the guy who is very sentimental about things. So it's not that. I just think, some of it's like, come on, I want other people to step up. That's all. But I realize that I took the L. I admit that. I took the L. I wear it proudly. I should. So
let me give you my take when it comes.
Let me say this first, and then we'll come to your take. So years ago, my wife, she would get exasperated about things and get upset, and she would say, "I'm not yelling at you. I'm yelling at the situation."
Okay.
I got a T-shirt that said, "I'm the situation."
Still gonna be quiet about that too. So my take is when it comes to my wife. Yeah, sorry, I threw that one up already. Is I feel that number one, teach my kids, teach my sons, like, hey, super important day, just like any other day in regards to loving your mother. But it's an important day because without her, you guys wouldn't be here. Like we wouldn't be here, right? And I feel that's number one. That's my first responsibility for them to honor her. And then secondly, for me to give her that honor as well, because I know it's not Wives' Day, like you had stated before, but she helps me be a better dad to my kids by mothering. Like she keeps me in check in regards to like what I should do as a dad sometimes, or like we work together. We're a good team, so I want to honor her as a mother who is helping me also to be a father at times too. So
yeah, you know that's an excellent point, Mike. That the whole modeling it for your kids, totally get that. And again, if we were keeping scoring in debate, I'm like losing like 99-1.
Finally I'm beating you at something because my draft is probably terrible from last week. But let's go.
Yeah, we won't get into that. We can talk about that all night again. But so let's talk about, maybe somebody's out there and they're like, what do I get my wife? What, flowers and chocolates or whatever. They tend to be like the go-to. But what are some things that we can get our wives or our moms, just maybe some tips. And let me tell you, I'm going to tell you a story about an epic fail of mine. Okay, so the boys were little, and I was walking through a Montgomery ward. This is how long ago it's been. Did they have Montgomery ward up where you were at?
No, but that's like a Woolworth sort of, right?
It's kind of like a J.C. Penney's.
Okay,
That
so
type
yeah,
of
J.C. Penney, Stearns, that type of thing. Okay.
yeah, that type of thing. So, but Montgomery Ward was the place that you went. Like we just always went there. So we're walking through there, and now I call it something. My wife's like, "Don't ever call it that. It's not what you call it." Um, my wife wanted a mini trampoline. I called it a mini tramp. I don't know. Maybe it's regional or whatever. So
Knowing your wife the way I do now, I know why she did not want you to call
yeah.
that. Yeah.
So anyhow, we lived up in I think we were living in Jersey at the time, and in the winter months, you don't go outside because
Right.
you can't exercise. So it was something that she wanted to do to exercise during the off months. So Mother's Day is right around May in Jersey. It's still cold, and we're walking through like Christmas time, after Christmas, we're walking through, and she said, "Man, I really want that." I'm like, and I put it in the back of my mind, that would be a great gift for my wife. Because she asked for it. She literally said, "This is what I want." It wasn't one of those things where I'm like, "Babe, you know what you need? You need a mini trampoline." No. This was what she wanted. So I wrap it up. I'm excited. It's Mother's Day, and she opens the gift and was not happy at all. Not at all. So
I could have told you that, dude. Like without even hearing the story.
Where were you? Where were you?
I was young at the time.
Yeah. You were no help to me. So I've learned over the years that just because your wife may want a gift, don't buy it for her.
Oh, yeah, that's
so
true.
Don't give your wife what she wants. That's the take. No, I'm kidding. But I'm saying, like, there's certain gifts that are appropriate in certain times, I guess.
Well, I can tell you, so that's a fail. I know with me, I have failures as well in regards to giving gifts. Not sure if it was for Mother's Day or whatnot, but was it for Mother's Day? Maybe it was for Christmas when I bought. See, for me, my wife's making it easy. Hopefully, my kids are watching too.
Well, I don't know. I don't know, Mike. That's a big list for you. Or maybe she's giving it to me, and she's giving it to me. She's trying to help me. She's like, "Pastor, get off the mini trampoline train. Here's some things to help you."
I think it was for Christmas, and I'm sorry because it's a different holiday. But in the past, I've had issues where we talk about something, and it's like, "Oh, hey, yeah, we wish we had that," right? So we ran out of XM radio when we used to listen to XM radio, and it was like around Christmas time, and we listened to Christmas music, tons of Christmas music, like just every type of genre Christmas music. And we go for when gas was cheaper, we used to go for rides. Probably gonna get in trouble for that. um, not going for enough rides, but I said, you know what? I'm gonna buy you a small gift. And she was like, "What was that?" I bought it. I was like, "I got you the subscription for XM radio." And she was like, "That's not for me. That's for you." I was like, "Well, I can use it too." She's like, "That's not for me. Terrible gift."
Yeah. So if you're tuning in right now, we are setting such a low bar of epic fails that we've done. Learn from our mistakes.
Absolutely.
Learn from them and roll with it.
Oh, here's Lisa. Look, it's for both of us.
Oh, she was giving that advice for both of us. Yes.
Yep,
Oh,
see?
she's coming down on the decision that it was definitely for you. Definitely for you. Yeah,
just
I'm trying to think. I know there was times that I've tried to do those combo gifts too, like, hey, let it be something mutually beneficial, and they fail more than anything.
well, let me ask you, if it was a trip to like on a cruise, you both have to go, right? What if I were to get my wife something for Mother's Day? A trip on a 4-day cruise to the Bahamas.
Okay. Yeah, I would be able to tell you some things to make that special.
Yeah, I know that. But like um but well, like I get to participate in it.
Yeah. Well, my wife's not like anti-participatory. Like me taking her away, obviously I'm with her, but she wants it to be where it's us.
Yeah.
There's those moments like there's different flows of expectation of what you want on a getaway. I think we've talked before. There's a difference between a trip and a vacation,
On
right?
vacation. Yep.
A trip is we did a lot of trips when I was a kid. We'd go to my grandparents' house, and I love my grandparents, but that's a trip. But uh, a vacation is where like you get away and you're by yourselves and you can kind of decompress. Here's some advice coming. My wife is simple. Uh, Mike, you don't say that. You don't word it that way.
You just ruined your secret sauce, dude.
Yeah. Naomi, yeah. So you should drop those first four words. Drop the first four words and say, Naomi loves a handwritten note and a nice card. She's very sentimental like that. Yeah. Yeah. I know some of my wife's favorite gifts have been a letter that I've written her or something steeply sentimental. He's like, my bad. And I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help, Mike.
We're trying to help you, dude. We're trying to help
you're talking to people who it's like my golf game, right? If you watch PGA golf and they're like, "Ooh, he's in the bunker. It's going to be a tough shot." I'm like, "Those are easy shots. I have lots of practice under a tree, leaning. I do those all day long. Why? Because that's my game. Like, put it out in the center of the fairway. I don't know what to do. That's the hard shot for me because I never do it. So learn from guys who don't hit the fairway sometimes. We make a lot of mistakes. We know what it is.
I can't even get off the tee.
So we just want to help you, Mike. We don't want you don't be like Mike.
Yeah.
That's a campaign, right? Don't be like Mike. Is that how it goes?
We're copywriting it right now.
So we talked about some fails, but seriously, let's lean into some good advice. I know your wife threw out, jewelry, gift certificates, get her nails done, a maid to clean the house while you're at dinner. That's a really cool idea. What are some other things that you could do let's start maybe your mom, like not the romantic gifts, but like not the mom of your children, but your mom. Is there certain gifts or those types of things?
I think it depends. One of the things, like if you're talking to young guys in school, right? Like if you're talking to some young children that are in school, and I mean like college age, maybe even high school, like small sentimental gifts. Doesn't have to be costly. It doesn't really have to be costly. Like I remember as a teenager, I would. My mom was into candles. Sorry, my work phone is going off. My mom was into candles, so we would get her candles from like Yankee Candle, and now it's like she just wants to spend time with the grandkids or um, going out to eat or something like that. It's a little bit different. Um, Even with like my mother-in-law, um, just spending time around people. Um, so it depends. Like it obviously people are we're all different, right? We're unique. We're created in the Lord's likeness, but everybody's different, and I think that's what makes it difficult at times. But that's also what could make it fun, right?
Right, right. Well, and that's the thing. I think society has pigeonholed moms to look a certain way, and um, I know your wife and my wife is so multifaceted, talented in so many different ways that they don't have to be one thing. Uh, I'll tell you a gift that really went over well with my wife. I think it was Savannah did it when she was like I think she was like a junior high or maybe early high school. She made a coupon book, and it was like certain things that she would do for her mom, and that like Deanna would be able to present her the coupon.
Okay.
And I think she got her brothers to go along with it too. That they all had like certain coupons that they put in
That's
this,
cool.
and they gave it to her for Mother's Day, and it'd be something like a back rub or different chores or different expressions of love or whatever. So it was pretty cool.
That's cool. What about you? What are some things that your mom lives far, right? She lives far from us.
Yeah, my mom's far. My mom is my mom is a conundrum sometimes. Like she asks for things. Like she said, I hate my coffee pot because it makes a whole pot. And I'm only drinking a cup a day. I'm like, Mom, I could get you a Keurig, because
Right.
then you could like do an individual cup. And I bought the most expensive Keurig I could find. I sent it to her, and then like 4 years later, I'm up visiting her, and the Keurig is still in its box. It's never been out of the box. And I'm like, what? She goes, I love it. Thank you. It's what I wanted. Like, you wanted me just to buy it for you or what? Or she'll even say, I want a new crock pot, and I'll buy it and it's still in the box. Like I don't know. I don't know. My mom's more challenging to shop for.
Okay.
So I've learned like certain things, like things that comfort or make her feel good, like little hand massagers or just different things. But uh, it's been hard to shop for my mom sometimes.
Okay. Like I just stated before, everybody's different, a little unique, um, and sometimes it's difficult, but we'll eventually find fun in it.
Yeah. So my mom's the type that you're like, Mom, what do you want? I just want you to be happy. Like that's not a gift. Like I don't know.
The
So are
gift that keeps
you?
on giving.
Yeah. Are you a person that likes giving a gift, like a list, or are you somebody who likes to try to surprise Lisa?
I'm getting to the point, like, we're going to be married for 21 years. Um, and while Lisa likes surprises, I've known that I have a problem keeping my mouth shut when it comes to surprises. Like, I ruin my own surprises. So I'm just like, hey, give me a list, just like my wife did just now. Like, hey, here's a list of things. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. That's safe for me.
Yeah, my wife will tell me that she's not difficult because she tells me exactly what she wants, and she does. She'll give me a list. We have like an Amazon list that she puts on there,
Right.
and she adds on to it, so I know exactly what you. But I still like to surprise her. I still like to do some things different. Uh,
Surprise, as long as I can do it quickly. Like, and I don't mean like, oh, go and get it quick. I'm like being able. Michael and Aaron, yes, that is correct. Like, so I'm the guy that I have to go to the store and then because I'm excited, I have to give it right away.
right, right. I do that too. So I'll buy my wife like 4 or 5 gifts, but one she has to open right away. Because I just like, oh, I found this and whatever. So Um, so bad ideas are occasion. You gotta know you gotta read the room, right? You gotta know the occasion. Um,
I would say also don't buy your wife a vacuum cleaner. I've never done that, but I've tried to. Like when the Dyson first came out, like years ago, I think it was even before like Michael was born. I was like, hey, we should get a Dyson. We need a new vacuum cleaner. How about I buy it for Mother's Day? And she's like, you're dumb.
that's right up there with mini trampoline.
Yeah.
Or my wife's like, don't buy me anything for the kitchen. I don't want anything for the kitchen. I'm like,
Right. But you said you wanted a Ninja Turbo XL or
and she does. She wants that. She does. She loves her Ninja. But there's certain things that are like appropriate at certain times.
right.
So what are some of the best ideas? What do you think are things that, okay, somebody's strapped financially, they don't have a lot of money, but they still want to do something nice. What are some like budget friendly ideas that you can do for your wife as an example for your boys, or you don't have a daughter, but for your children?
Um, Lead by example. Like, I've struggled at times. 21 years of marriage, you're gonna have it takes work, right? Um, and there's times where I'm like, it's Sunday, I'm tired, I've worked all week, right? And so is she, and she just wants to relax and sit watch TV, or maybe I'll cook or something like that. But I'm like, maybe I dropped the ball, right? Maybe I'm letting her do the dishes or something like that. Yes, there it is. I'm just going into service. Exactly. My wife is really active in this conversation today. All right.
She's bringing
I
the
don't know.
fire, bro.
I don't know if she's trying to be the next guest on the podcast, or she's just letting it known. So, um, but yeah, just serving your wife, right? We're called to treat our wives as Christ loved the church, right? And be an example. Whether you have, and I mean, I don't have any daughters, but you could attest to this by being the man that God has called you to be. Just trying your best. Like, let her have that day off, right? Make her feel extra special,
Right.
because you should always be um, trying to make your wife feel special, and know that she is special. And I'm not, listen, for all of those who are watching, I try my best, but I fail more than I'm successful at.
Yeah. So as our kids have grown out of the house, a lot of times it's like, okay, what is your vision of what Mother's Day looks like for you this year? Like, do you want to go away? Do you want it to be something just us? Do you want to do something? So, trying to hear her articulate what she wants and then make that happen. That's just listening and have those conversations. There's other days that you could surprise. And if you want to do something sentimental, certainly you could do that. A special piece of jewelry, or uh, my daughter's super great at gift giving. Like,
Mm-hmm.
for Christmas this year, she got me the Peanuts jelly jars that I
Right.
grew up as when I was a kid. She collected them. Like, she went all over and found them and got them for me because she knew that that's very sentimental to me. Like, it was nostalgic.
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool. So it's thoughtful. It wasn't costly, but it was thoughtful. So sometimes
Yeah.
that's the thought really does matter more than the value of something.
Yeah, absolutely. I forgot to add one to the don't do's. Try your best, because we're talking about our wives as mothers, right? As a husband, not to work on that day, like at your job, right? For you, it's a little bit different. You preach on Sundays, right? It's a little bit different. But like, if you have a Monday through Friday, or like, even if you have, like, I used to work week, like I still every, I'm on a rotation, every several weeks that I have to work on a weekend. But plan ahead, guys. It is May. Mother's Day is in May. Is it what, the second Sunday of each May? I'm gonna tell you guys it's gonna be May for a while, so make sure you do that. Try to take that day off, right? If you have to work. Laura was saying, always try to take her mom out to Outback Steakhouse, their favorite restaurant, for Mother's Day. For years, didn't have the funds, so they would cook a meal for her at home, and then would clean up after it. So she loved that. So it's a good
Yep.
idea.
Paper plates is awesome on special holidays, right? You
Oh
just
yeah,
throw it away.
absolutely. Yep. Nothing breaks, right?
And you pay the extra money to get the Chinette, baby. You're worth it.
There you go.
You're worth it. And get the heavy duty plastic forks,
There
not
you
the
go.
ones that break.
Yeah. Gold. They even make it in gold now.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, so think in terms of doing something special for your moms, right? I think write stuff from your heart, notes, letters. Um, make it about her,
Yeah.
you know. And then if you have, like you said, sometimes it's inevitable. You have to work or whatever.
Right.
In those moments, what you can do is you can like say, okay, I know I work on Mother's Day, but um, why don't we celebrate Mother's Day before or after, and have those special times.
Yeah, absolutely. Before and after is always a good thing too. If you're trying to save money on, just like I try to save money on Valentine's Day. You go the week before, your steak might be a little bit cheaper than the day of Mother's Day. But it's a really good conversation. Like it's super important. Mother's Day. It's I look at it from a little bit of a different perspective now. Like my mom doesn't want much, um, but I feel like I have to definitely still acknowledge her. But I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but like for me, it's more of a responsibility to make sure my children are seeing um, the evidence of what it is to love their wives when they become husbands, and then when they become fathers, to make sure that they feel extra special on that day. It's a little bit different as a
Yeah,
grown.
and the thing too is we need to be sensitive at Mother's Day. There's people who
Yeah,
struggle with things like infertility, or maybe they lost a child, or
absolutely.
uh, maybe had trauma around that day or whatever. So we need to also be aware of that and be
Hmm.
sensitive and listen,
Absolutely.
you
Yeah.
know, and just love. Like I said, that's what we do at the church. We're very intentional to not be intentional,
Hmm.
and just make everybody in attendance feel special for being there.
Yeah,
So again,
absolutely.
if you're in the area on Sunday, we have our Mother's Day at celebration. Message is going to be bold. There's going to be a gift for every lady. It's just going to be an awesome day, and I can't wait to share it with you. I'll be preaching for Mother's Day, and it's just going to be an epic day, and I can't wait to do that. Mike, before we get off of here tonight, I want to share the book of the month for May.
Okay.
Um, so the book of the month for May is Safely Home. It is by Randy Alcorn. Uh, Let me tell you, if you want a book that will really give you a missions heart, this is it. It is so good. It's a story of a man who went to college, and his roommate and him were Christians in college. He was Chinese, and he was from the States, and it just tells their story, and just an amazing book. And I listened it on audiobook, and I'm telling you, there was times that I cried. I mean, it emotionally, just a powerful book, and you will love it. If you love missions, you'll love missions even more. If you don't have a heart for missions, I'm telling you, you will see the world differently by reading this book. Again, let me pop it back up on the
That's
screen.
awesome.
Safely Home by Randy Alcorn. And the audiobook of it, it's like listening to a movie. I mean, it's done so well. It is done
Okay.
so well. Easy listen. I mean, easy as in it's easy to listen to. I mean, it's challenging. It like really convicts you of like not praying and not doing more for mission. So just a
Right.
great book.
That's awesome.
So that's the book we're doing for the month of May, and I can't wait. And then in June, Pastor Linda has a book, and she's actually going to lead through it. So it's just gonna be a great series of books coming up.
Nice.
Anything that you have that you want to drop on us before we get off of here tonight?
Um, I just honestly, as of recently, there's been last week. Was it last week? Last week, but it's not just last week. It's always it's all over the world. But I think it's a little more eye opening for our country as protests break out and stuff like that. And we had that at USF happen last week, where just wasn't good, right? And obviously, we know it's very rare. It's not rare, but it's we don't see that happen often, in America, but we're starting to see it happen more, right? So it's, for me, it starts to hit home a little bit more. It's like, hey, this is literally like 20 minutes, 30 minutes from my house. And that's kind of normal in some other places, right? So
Yeah.
we're pretty fortunate as Americans, but I've been finding the need to just pray more for our country.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing too for me as well because while it was going on at UCF, I mean USF, it was also happening at Virginia Commonwealth, like VCU, right down the street from our house in Richmond.
Right.
So like both of my worlds, it was happening. It was kind of surreal thinking that this is going on across colleges across America.
Yeah.
So I think people have a right to begin talking and having conversations, but uh, when you get so blinded in your position that you don't really have the ability to talk and hear, and it is something that we do need to pray for because there's innocent victims that get pulled into this, and people are going to get injured, people are going to get hurt, destruction of property, all those things.
Yeah.
And we just need to pray for a revival in America. So
that's it right there.
And I honestly, and I think this might be a topic for another day. We need to really be prayed up coming into the fall months, right around election time. I sense that it could get worse before it gets better.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So we as Christians need to step up and love and be the sound voice of reason in this time, and demonstrate that. All right, Mike. Before we get off, why don't you pray for us tonight?
Yeah, Lord, we thank you for always being here and evident on the podcast. Well, Pastor Larry and I are just being two real guys, trying to impact our community around us and throughout the world. Lord, we thank you for your favor, your blessings, your protection, your healing, the miracles that you have upon our lives. Anyone who is in the sound of my voice, who needs a miracle, who needs prayer, that you would meet them right where they're at, Lord. We thank you for the cross, Jesus. We thank you for your salvation, your grace, your mercy. Lord, we just pray right now for the leaders of our country, that they would draw closer to you and your will, Father, and that us as Christian would live that by example, your will and your love. And we ask these things, Father, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Well, we love you guys. Until next time, peace.